Hey YouTube. Thought I'd do one more video today. If you didn't get a chance to check out my review of Bleu de Chanel, definitely check it out. It's a great fragrance, it really is. And I don't know, maybe you've seen a million other opinions and reviews on it already, at which point I'm not offended if you don't see mine. But I wanted to bring to you one more video today. I wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that I've been wearing this summer. This has been a very, very hot summer in Utah, in Salt Lake City. I'm in a suburb of Salt Lake City. We've been getting into the 90s. We've been getting into the hundreds. I'll let those of you who are not in the States do the conversion yourself to Celsius or centigrade. But like I said, I wanted to show you some of the things I've been wearing. Now, some of these I've been wearing much more frequently than others. Some of them maybe I've only worn once, but what I'm showing you is fragrances that I've been wearing and fragrances that have generally done pretty well. Nothing that's been too cloying, nothing that I feel like I can't necessarily wear again in the heat. And what I'm going to bring to you today is I've got 10 fragrances here, and so this is in no particular order. I'm not basing this on which ones are my favorite. I'm not basing this on which ones I'm wearing the most, although I will comment on some of these probably, as I get to them, if I'm wearing them significantly more than some of the other fragrances. But let's go ahead and get started. I've got some niche in here. I've got some designer in here. I've got some cheapies. So I think I've got a good, really the spectrum, from cheap to ridiculously expensive. So we'll go ahead and we'll start on the cheap end of things, actually. This is one that I just picked up at TJ Maxx. I accidentally bought this. This is just Perry Ellis 360. And I was trying to get Perry Ellis 360 Red. And I know you guys are going to think that I'm a moron, that I accidentally bought this, but I'm glad that I did. Because it's nice stuff. It really is. It's cheap. You're going to think that it's brutally synthetic, guaranteed, but it smells nice. And I get decent performance out of it, and it works really well in the heat. So I'm not going to complain. And it was cheap. It was like 20 or 30 bucks. So Perry Ellis 360. If you haven't smelled this, check it out. If you're a fragrance snob and you're only into niche and you can't stand to wear something that's cheaper or synthetic, then this is probably not for you. But if you're an open-minded fragrance person, this is nice. I like it. It's good stuff. And next, so we'll jump from the cheap end of the spectrum now, and we'll go all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Carnal Flower. This is a Frederic Malle from the House of Frederic Malle, and this stuff is really, really nice. Dominique Rapillon was the perfumer for this particular fragrance. And if you've never smelled this and you don't know what this is all about tuberose. Wow, very nice stuff. And even though it's extremely floral, it's also something that a guy can wear because it's got a lot of sharp greenness to it as well. So it's not as feminine. Now it does kind of get a little heavier, a little sweeter as the fragrance goes on. That sharp greenness dies down. But it's really gorgeous. I kind of get the same effect. Actually, I can't remember the Bond fragrance that I get the same effect from after it dries down a bit. But this is gorgeous stuff, and well worth checking out if you're open to florals. If you like tuberose, then this is really nice stuff. Gorgeous stuff and great longevity. Wow, you will get easily 12 hours out of this. If you're not getting at least 12 hours out of this, there's something wrong with your skin. Because this stuff is a beast. It's fantastic. So moving on, this one right here. This one I haven't been wearing as much. I find this one a little bit harder to wear in the heat because it's a little sweeter. But this is Dolce & Gabbana The One. This is really nice stuff. I like this stuff because I'm really into kind of your sweeter, spicier, musky-like fragrances. And that's kind of the general vibe I get from this. I know that people say that they get kind of a tropical fruit vibe. I don't get tropical fruit. That's not what I get. To me, this is, I'm not saying there's absolutely no hint of fruitiness in this at all, but a dominant tropical fruity accord in this, I don't get this. To me, this is just nice, sweet, spicy, maybe a little fruitiness, But good stuff. Like I said, this is one that I haven't been reaching for quite as much. It's a little bit more cloying for me in the heat, but wanted to make sure that this one got mentioned. Next, we're going to do another cheapie. There you go. That's the one I was trying to buy. That's the real stuff. That is your Perry Ellis 360 Red. A lot of people think this smells like Acqua di Gio, that's a win. I think that's fantastic. Acqua di Gio is obviously a really, really pleasant fragrance. It's a bestseller for a reason, right? And there's a reason it's so popular. And in the heat, that's what you want. You want something that's going to be like Acqua di Gio. It's going to be light. It's going to be refreshing. It's going to be citrusy or aquatic or whatever. And this is great stuff. Now there's some stuff in here that's not in Acqua di Gio, of course. There's some spiciness, some cinnamon, and you'll get some of that. But generally, this is a really just citrusy fragrance. It's fantastic. I think it's great, and I get really good performance out of it too. I would say you're going to get at least 6 to 8 hours out of this, if not 8 plus. Wow, nice stuff and cheap. You should be able to get this online, shipping included, around $30. This is 100 milliliters. Really nice stuff. I'm wearing this. I'm enjoying it. Wow. Moving on, we'll go ahead and go with another niche fragrance. I don't think you're going to be too surprised that I've been wearing this a bit. Millésime Imperial. Creed's Millésime Imperial. I'm sure most of you have seen reviews on this. I'm sure a lot of you have smelled this before. This is gorgeous stuff. The melon note, the salty, seawatery vibe that you get from it as well. It gets sweeter as the fragrance goes on. On me, I would give this fragrance about an 8, maybe a 9. I like, it's great. It's a really good fragrance. On my wife, this is a 9 or a 10. This stuff is gorgeous on my wife. But generally just, wow, what a pleasant fragrance. So nice. Moving on. Probably not too many of you are surprised that this would make the lineup in a warmer weather lineup. Although a lot of people seem to think that this is a great spring fragrance, and I'm not going to argue with them. I'm sure it is great in the spring, but I think it's just generally nice in the warmer weather, whether things are just warming up in the spring or just cooling down in the fall. But in the heat, this works really well, and it's because you've got that gorgeous lemon, and that lemon is nice. This is not a lemon cream pie to me. I've heard that a lot. Lemon cream pie is what people get out of this. I don't get lemon cream pie. I just get sweet lemon, and it is nice. And then I get a lot of pepper. I would say sweet and spicy at times, but pepper, sweet lemons. This is nice stuff, and this works pretty darn well in the heat. So, Allure Edition Blanche. Didn't say the name. Apologize. Here's another one. I haven't been wearing this one a ton. I don't love this stuff, but I do like it, and it works well in the heat because it's very citrusy. But there's a lot more to it as well. This is a very interesting fragrance. This is L'Eau d'Issey. L'Eau d'Issey is it's kind of another one of those like really dynamic fragrances, kind of like Bleu de Chanel, where there's a lot going on. This is very, very citrusy. At first, the yuzu in your face, very powerful. But it gives way to some woodiness. It gives way to some spiciness. This is a different fragrance. You might get some florals out of this at times. But this is nice stuff. It is nice. Like I said, I don't love it. I don't think it's a great fragrance. I wouldn't rate it an 8 or above. But I would give it at least a 6 or a 7. And this is good stuff for the heat. Moving on, and actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I'm going to give this a 6, and I don't want to turn anybody off to it because I'm giving it a 6. That's just my opinion, but it is good, and I do wear it. So don't think that a 6 is a terrible rating, and I don't wear it because I gave it a 6. Anyway, let's see. Here's another one. Great fragrance, iconic fragrance, Terre d'Hermès. Really, really nice stuff. Absolutely has grown on me since purchasing it. I used to find this kind of weird, kind of out there. It is different, but once you get used to it, this is gorgeous stuff. As far as the heat is concerned, this is the Eau de Toilette. I think the Eau de Toilette is going to be much better for the heat than the Eau de Parfum. I tried the Eau de Parfum before I bought the Toilette, and it's heavier. And I don't think that's going to work as well in the heat. And then as far as this in the heat is concerned, I would say that if you're in the 80s or below, you should be pretty darn safe to wear this. Fahrenheit, of course. 80s or below, gorgeous stuff. If you're in the 90s or above, this might be a little too much, a little too unpleasant to wear. I did wear this not too long ago. Like I said, we're having 90 to 100 plus degree heat, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I usually do. So I would say 80s or below, this should be pretty darn nice to wear. 90s or above, I think you're taking a risk at how much you're going to enjoy it at that point, but great fragrance. We'll go ahead and grab second to last fragrance that I want to talk about today, Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel is great. This stuff is really, really nice. This is right up my alley with the sweet spiciness. That's something that I very much enjoy in a fragrance is sweet spiciness. This has sweet spiciness in it, but it also has woods. It also has greenness. It also has citrus. This stuff is very dynamic. And even though it's just a generally pleasant smell that I don't think is going to offend a lot of people, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. And I think it would make a great signature scent, by the way, as well. Even though it's generally pleasant, it's like I said, there's just so much to it. At times I'll smell a little Platinum Egoist in it. There's definitely woodiness. It starts off with citrus. It's nice. This is nice stuff. I really enjoy it. I've been wearing it a decent amount, actually. That's one of the ones that I've been wearing a decent amount is Bleu de Chanel. I've also been wearing the Perry Ellis 360 Red a decent amount as well, of all these fragrances. And then another one that I've been wearing, I would say a pretty decent amount. No surprise here, I'm sure to any of you fragrance junkies out there, Creed Green Irish Tweed. This is gorgeous. I love this stuff. This stuff is a 10. Scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10. I absolutely love this. I haven't reviewed it yet. I might at some point. There's so many opinions out there on this. I don't know that it needs another review, but I still might have to. This is a 10. For those of you who haven't tried this because you think that, oh, everybody says it smells like Cool Water, so I'm just going to save my money and buy Cool Water, you need to try this, okay? If you like it, I'm not saying spend $300 on it at Nordstrom or wherever it is that you're trying it or thinking of purchasing it. You can get this for probably about $150 or $160 online. That's where I got this. Absolutely gorgeous. I heard Mark describe it in, I think I was watching his top spring or spring-summer fragrances for this year, and this was his number 2, and he described it as lush, and that is dead on. This is lush. There's just something very rich and lush about this fragrance, and to me, it's not soapy. I don't think this is a soapy fragrance, but to me, this is what a really good soap would smell like. Maybe like I mean, if you think about some of the different fragrances that some of your blue bars of soap come in. To me, this is what a really good blue bar of soap would smell like, at least for part of the fragrance. And it starts off, you're going to get violet leaves in the opening, just strong enough. I mean, they're definitely there, but also just that lushness, right? That comes along with whatever else is doing its thing in the fragrance. And as this dries down, it becomes, I'd say even at times even more beautiful than the opening. And as the sandalwood and the ambergris come up, and it gets heavier, and it gets a little darker, and it's just I don't know how to explain it, but the opening and the mid, I mean, are great. But when it gets a little heavier, a little darker, whatever that sandalwood and that ambergris is doing is awesome. I love this stuff. I've been wearing it plenty, and this stuff is a 10. So if you haven't checked it out, absolutely check it out. Anyway, that was 10 fragrances that I've been wearing or have worn, at least once, during the hotter weather. And all of these should perform pretty well for you. I think I've given you a number of caveats to consider. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful for those of you who might be looking for yet another warm weather fragrance to add to your collection to kind of round things out a little bit. And thanks for tuning in.